Miramichi, Danielle, Dixon, and his wife.
Well, welcome to another episode of Mirami-histor-chi.
The Dixon Hills today. Now that must be, that's back in Napa.
Oh yeah. Well, we're gonna tackle 1999, turn of the century here today. And here's an example of one of the, what are we calling these? Not boxes. It's like a box. It's a metal box folder, and this is Roger's work. That's all sheet metal, and it has a cover to it, and you see how the papers fit in without having to damage anything. So we're just getting ready here. Here's a look at our set. This is a look at our set here. There's a picture. Did Amanda did that one, right? Of you?
Yeah.
That's from Roger's daughter Amanda, who's a very talented artist. I think she drew that one too, of Raj. Little wood pile. Roger's fireplace. I remember when he was constructing this and putting this in. Okay, hello. We're going to do 1999 today, as I just mentioned. Raj has been unbelievably getting his things ready. I just walk over and he has everything ready. And I hope I'm not really taking too much of his time. I think we're enjoying it. Going back and reminiscing. Last night I was at the David Adams Richards premiere of that documentary film, which I thought was really good. This is another book I've been reading. It's called Lines on the Water, A Fisherman's Life on the Miramichi. This is nonfiction. And there was just a little paragraph I'd like to share about our Miramichi River. Our great writer, our great artist, David Adams Richards, fishes the river and he knows it well. Or the great waters, the south branch of the Savogle that flows into the main Savogle, that flows into the northwest Miramichi, itself a tributary of the... Oh, that's the wrong paragraph. Where was it? I think it's this one. I grew up with poor boys and knew when the smelt run was on and when the Tommy cod came, because much more than me, they needed these things for their families to eat. We were wasteful, they were not. To them, fishing and their fathers' hunting had a whole different perspective. Some I grew up with ate more deer meat than beef and relied upon it. And when they went fishing, it was less a sport than part of their diets. I remember a child who fell off an ice floe and started crying, not because he fell in, but because he'd lost the Tommy cod he had promised his mum he would bring home. So there's just a little snippet from the great artist on our great river. And we'll be with you in a couple of seconds there. Raj is going through some stuff. This might have to be a part 3 thing. 99, he has a lot of stuff.
A little giant tree there. You can read that, so that's a quick read.
Okay, yep.
And a little bit there.
We'll do that. Okay, here we are.
Okay,
Record is on. And as I said before, just a couple of minutes ago, we are tackling 1999. Our local historian, Roger Como, once again, if you're just joining us and you just click on this for the first time, has documented decades of Miramichi and local history in the surrounding areas, local history, via mostly newspaper clippings, brochures, pamphlets, photographs, whatever has interested Raj over the years, and he has stored them and filed them away. And we're unpacking them in our little Mirami-histor-chi series here. So, Raj, why don't you start us off with something?
Okay. We'll start...
Raj got a little bit of a sore throat today, so...
Anyway, we're going to start off with... we even have the story of Jesus Christ. A bunch of students told the story on stage at James Hill.
Okay, you want me to hold that up?
That's the
Okay, so it was called Godspell. This was the James M. Hill High School, one of the local high schools here in our City put on from their drama club, April 7th, 8th, and 9th. Stephen Davis and Donald McTavish, Darcy Traer and Brian Carter, Matt Manderson and Matt Benson. I recognize a lot of those names. That's Stephen Davis. He was a drummer, I think.
Show the other sheet though.
Yeah.
Show all that.
So that's one. And then the Godspell was the name of it, and it tells what they do. They tackle the story of Jesus Christ creatively through song and dance, and that's actually one of my good friend's brother right there, Donald. He is a very talented artist kind of guy, a musician, etc. And if we get some names going here, the entire cast: Stephen Davis, Donald McTavish. I know those guys. I know Brad Trevors, Matthew Dinan, Brandy Mills, Aaron Hensby, Ryan McLaughlin, Amy Doucette, Jennifer Hallahan, Kyla Frank, Corey Falley, Don Hensby, Kelly McLaughlin, and Kathy Furnett. And these shows, for many years, the drama department, an English teacher named Mr. Lloyd Cameron, he was the mastermind behind all of these. And he was able to gather students together and put on really, really excellent productions over the years. And Lloyd Cameron, was he from Logieville?
Oh yes.
He's a Logieviller, yeah.
Oh yeah, up next to the cemetery up there.
Oh right, the late Lloyd Cameron. Yeah. And I had him as a teacher. He was a really special teacher. Well, Raj, that's a great way to start.
Okay, now we're going to show a little bit of some excellence here with a silver medal by a local sports lady.
Okay, that girl's name is Amanda Sullivan. I remember her. She was younger than me. And she's holding up a silver medal. And I remember she used to shoot. Sullivan brings home shooting medal from games. Barnaby River, Amanda Sullivan, 18, is a pistol packing beauty queen. And a pretty nice one at that, literally. They're actually using the word literally proper, because that word has been hijacked. And Sullivan shot her way to a silver medal finish in the air pistol shooting event at the Canada Winter Games on Tuesday last week. And she was crowned queen and Miss Congeniality at her school. Sullivan is on a roll. Yep, I remember one of my friends, his sister used to hang out with her, so that's how I got to know her a little bit.
Yeah.
Roger is documenting, and since we're on the topic of beauty queens, here's one here from the February 26, 1999 issue. And this young Miramichi, what was her name? Angelia Morrison is representing Miramichi. The phone's ringing. Is representing Miramichi as Miss Miramichi International at the Miss New Brunswick International Pageant being held in Moncton this week. And there's a nice, I think that might be her graduation photo. And Angela Morrison, one of 10 running for Miss New Brunswick International. And here's some other photos of her. I'm sure she represented the Miramichi very well. She looks like she has some things put together in her life at that time. The young Angelia Morrison. Very cool. Okay, what else do we got here? Raj is on a phone call. Well, I can go with, this was, I remember when Shania Twain was the big force back in those 90s. Well, she came to Moncton, and there's a picture from the local Moncton newspaper, Showtime with Shania. And Shania, one of our Canadian artists from Timmins, Ontario, I think. I think she has become, right now, I think she's the highest selling female artist, or if not artist, in the world. So I remember a friend of mine in university This is her show in Moncton in '99. I remember a friend of mine in university, he was in love. So there's a shout out to Normie from Bedeck in Cape Breton. So I just covered Shania, I just covered that the beauty Angelia.
Oh, that's really good.
And there's the phone call, all smooth sailing. They don't need you somewhere else, a busy guy like yourself.
Well, we might as well take care of this young fella
Okay.
right there.
This young feller right there, folks. Anybody that is from Logieville knows what family that guy comes from, because Mr. Man, it's hard to mistake them. That is young Ryan McDonald. He is the son of Larry and Mary McDonald, and we always call him Rock. Ryan McDonald, captain of Miramichi Bun's Master Ironman, accepts the Adam Trophy from tournament organizer John Donovan. And Rock is a really beautiful young man. He came to my house a few weeks ago after the passing of my father. He showed up, he gave my mom, big hugs. He stayed for a while, we had a good chat. He's a real sweetheart, and he was one heck of a good hockey player growing up. He had the skill to put the puck. He was just good. He was a right-handed shot, really, really excellent player, but more important than that, an excellent person.
Okay, so a little bit of sports and hockey there. Let's mention a little thing we found here on Bernie Keating and John Lorden years ago. Back in '61, they were telling a story about going to the Memorial Cup, I guess.
Playing in the Maple Leaf Gardens. So Bernie Keating, would he be close to your age? He's older than you, eh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was a principal at the middle school when I was growing up, and he was a local athlete. And then John Lorden, we mentioned him in an earlier episode, a local athlete, a musician, teacher. You know, so there's a picture of that's Bernie there.
That's Bernie. Yeah.
That's Bernie. Keating and Lorden remember playing in Maple Leaf Gardens, and that's from 1961. It says the recent hype surrounding the closing of Maple Leaf Gardens has resurrected some memories for a couple of former local players. Back in '61, John Lorden and Bernie Keating, after a championship college season with St. Thomas University Times in Chatham, were asked to play with the Moncton Junior Beavers along the Memorial Cup Trail. And I'm just going to stop the reading there because we're going through a lot of material here today.
Okay, now we'll just stick with the sports there for a second.
Okay.
For Miramichi here, Gary Bernard. Some story on Gary Bernard.
Well, I don't know Gary very well, Raj. Do you know him?
No, not too much, sir, but he is, like we was telling it right there where he
Yeah.
is.
Well, that's not a pot of stew right there, folks. That is a bucket of golf balls. And there's Gary. So Gary, he was going for a record. So Gary was he was a golf pro up at the local golf club.
Up in Moncton.
Oh, he was in Moncton. So he's a Miramichier. So, okay, Moncton pro golfer Gary Bernard set out to break the world record for most drives in 1 hour yesterday. While Bernard blasted 1,972 balls, he fell short of the existing record of 2,146. It was 30 degrees. Bernard needed oxygen on a couple of occasions. All proceeds from the event will be donated to the Children's Wish. I was hoping there was a good reason for that. Anyway, that's pretty cool. Local Miramichi going for the drive record. One of my friends in Vancouver, he tried to have the world record for the longest hockey game, and I think he did one at like 40 hours or something like that. He tried it twice out in Calgary.
Yeah. Maybe we could just mention about Dixon there with
Okay.
his surgery, and then he's working his way back.
Okay. Well, yeah, like fight for a job in the big leagues begins again for Dixon. And for anybody around the Miramichi or New Brunswick or Canadian baseball, we know that this handsome young guy right there, Jason Dixon, made us proud in the 90s. He was a local, he's from Napan, which is just south of here, farmland area where Raj and I grew up in Logieville. And he was an excellent baseball player and basketball player. And he was a very focused young man. He was able to know what to do to put his talents to use. And he went on to play college ball in the States and Team Canada and all this stuff. And he pitched in the major leagues. He had some shoulder issues. I remember as a student in university watching his first major league start, which was at Yankee Stadium against the Yankees, and I remember his second pitch. He threw it high and inside to Derek Jeter. Jeter launched it into left field, and we were like, uh-oh. And then that was the only run that he gave up. He beat the Yankees in Yankee Stadium in his first season, and then the next season that came around, he made the All-Star game as a rookie, and he finished third in American League Rookie of the Year voting. I think he finished with 13 wins or something like that. So I ran into him when I was in University of UMB when he was back doing his teaching. He's a gentleman. He's very smart. He's very articulate, and I think he's the president of the Canadian, something with Canada Baseball. He's got a high position up there, and he deserves a lot of credit, and I always gave it to him personally, and so did Raj.
Okay. Now this is a couple of athletes here in field hockey. Yeah, the first paragraph might tell you how they're involved.
Well, any Logieviller would know the family that this young woman comes from. And I'm sorry, Melissa, I don't really know you, but we'll mention you. This is Monique Robichaud. She spent many times in this house right here. She's a neighbor of ours, Robichaud, and her father played ball with Roger for many years, and their family friends and all that. And the article reads, 2 on junior field hockey squad. Monique Robichaud and Melissa Walls of Miramichi are 2 of only 10 players to make the New Brunswick junior indoor field hockey team, which will travel to Calgary for the national championships starting February 25th. Monique was a good basketball player, a good field hockey player, and she comes from a great family that we're close with. Right on, Raj. Like these newspaper clippings once, and then again, I gotta once again continue to give the credit for our local historian here. Not only Raj, have you taken the time to document all these over the years, you're doing it this morning. While I'm up at the gym talking to people, I'm making a beautiful lunch, and Raj is taking the time to get these things organized as we're doing our little YouTube project.
Well, this is a story on the biggest tree I ever seen on the back of a tractor trailer outside of the pulp mill in Newcastle.
Okay, so again, Roger's career, which started, when did you start working at the mill up there?
67.
1967. And one of the things that's been on my mind here, okay, so I'm gonna follow this up, but my Uncle Raj, for those of you just watching, always has been inspirational to me in many ways, just the way that he handled his life and the magic that went along with play and work. Okay, so we got a family that we've always worked hard. Well, they did. His kids didn't so much. They always worked hard, but knew how to play hard. And so my point being is that this is an intergenerational project that we're doing. I'm on the Miramichi for a few months following the passing of my father, and we're spending time together going through Roger's old notes. So here was a tree that came to the local pulp and paper mill, right here, a massive red cedar from where I live right now in BC. And, the first words in this article, Roger Como is missing a 60-foot giant red cedar log. The giant log passed through this area in May. It was destined for the 1999 Winter Games in Corner Brook, Newfoundland. When the truck carrying the log stopped at the Irving, across from the Repap, which is our local mill, it attracted quite a bit of attention from passerbys and mill employees. Como works at Repap. He's one of the mill workers who saw the tree. He kept a picture of the tree that ran in the leader pinned to his bulletin board.
It's all yellow now.
It's all yellow now. The log was donated by Western Forest Products Limited Gold River operation in British Columbia as a symbol of Canadian unity for the 99 Winter Games. Well, the Winter Games are going on now, and Como said he hasn't seen the tree during any of the newscasts from Newfoundland. A newspaper in Newfoundland, the Corner Brook Humber Log, was contacted and asked if the tree was there. It is. The now carved tree was erected in a special ceremony at Marble Mountain, the site of the skiing events. So that's really cool. And there's some evidence of our local historian at work.
Okay.
What else you got going on here?
July the 1st was the new golf course.
Okay. Golf course in Tabasin Tack to open on July 1st. So you're okay just handing these over and me doing most of the talking here?
Absolutely.
I'm not trying to hog. Like
Absolutely.
you're okay. So this is the Tabasin Tack. So Tabasin Tack is basically across the river from where we are here in Logieville. It's a little bit more towards the east, going towards the Acadian Peninsula, where our roots are from. We have French roots in our blood. And my sister's husband, Corey, is from there, and his father was part of this golf course. I think when it opened even, the Tabasin Tack.
Oh, yeah.
So the picture from September 21st in 1999, ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman right here is being awarded a trophy for the first hole-in-one in Tabasin Tack. Did you ever get a hole-in-one in a real course?
No.
And wait until we get to the local Logieville course that this man resurrected with his brothers back in the day. Yvonne Ferguson of Trackety Shiley was presented with a trophy to mark the occasion of his making the first hole-in-one at the Tabasin Tack Regional Golf Course. The presentation was made on Tuesday at Men's Night, every Tuesday evening over the summer. So that's pretty cool right there.
Yeah. And a nice production at Irish Festival folks here.
Okay, yeah.
Irish Festival folks, the organizers, how well their programs were right back in 1999.
July 15, 16, 17, 18, 99, the Irish Festival on the river here. We are home to Canada's Irish Festival. This would have been the 16th annual. The beautiful Irish flag colors there. And it was just very well done. You know, this is a glossy paper. I don't know my names of papers and stuff like that. Folds out all the events over the 4 days. People from all over Canada and perhaps the world come to our little community. And I would say back in the 80s and 90s, it was a little bit more of a party. Then it kind of has died down a little bit, I think, as I've been told, as kind of everything has with small town. And, you know, in order to have a small town, thriving, you got to have people that are volunteering their time, and then, you know, things have changed so much, as we've been saying, that it's very difficult to do these things. And here's a little clipping here that Raj had from March 9th, 1999. Now, there's Jim Doyle. He was a prominent teacher, intellectual organizer guy, presenting.
Eventually became principal.
He was a principal of the local high school.
He taught me for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, and he was a gentleman. I really liked him when I knew of him. And there's Jim Doyle presenting this fine young dame right here, who just lives actually a couple of houses over, who happens to be my sister. Great service. Vicky Como, they spelled her name wrong. We were talking about that over the last couple of months as people have been writing to us because of the passing of my father. Vicky's name is spelled with an I at the end. Everybody spells it with a Y, and she's like, oh my God. Okay, so Vicky Como, a summer employee at the Miramichi Visitor Information Center, recently received a special gift. Mr. and Mrs. Dave Wood of British Columbia were impressed with her friendliness and service when they visited the province last year. In appreciation, Mr. Wood painted a watercolor for her and had it sent to New Brunswick. Jim Doyle, MLA, Miramichi Beta Vin, is shown presenting the watercolor to Como. And, you know, my sister Vicky, I'll say it right now, I have been away for so many years, but when I come back, I keep running into people that work at the hospital. She's a nurse at the hospital that keep telling me how good she is in her position up there, and it makes me proud. And her 2 children I get closer with every time I do come home. So right on, Vic, and right on, Raj, for sharing that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Farewell
to Gretzky. It was also number 99. Everybody knows who number 99 is. Gone. There's Wayne with his wife Janet and one of his kids. I don't know, is that Trevor or Ty or one of them? Ty. Yeah, so Wayne was always he was my guy growing up, and you know, what a guy. And as I got older, I almost became more interested in Walter and how brilliant Walter Gretzky was.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Wayne's father, the most
Yeah,
the most
yeah.
famous Canadian. But that was Wayne's retirement. What a career! He's always made us proud as a Canadian. He always represented Canada so good in our hockey. Oh my goodness! It just keeps coming. Okay, so we have this team right here, which I have some peers on that team. Okay. Well, look at that big team photo here. So what were they called? The Miramichi Moose? So the Miramichi Moose off to the Maritime Championships. They won the local senior C crown, and they went to the Maritime Championships. And I think we got time to read a roster, eh?
Huh?
I'll read the roster out. Maybe as I'm doing that, you can kind of get a close-up of that. Okay.
Yeah.
Moose off to Maritime Championships. So they beat the... Okay, so where are they at? Here's the roster. Front row. Jason McTavish. Carl Waters was the coach. Rob Campbell coach. David Morrison. Mike Berube. Bruce Berry was the captain. Kevin McAllister. Jason Driscoll. Peter Donovan was a manager. Jamie Sullivan was a manager. Dewey Summers. Back row. Larry McKay, a manager. Darren Henderson. Kevin McGuire. Chris Fernandez. David McLean. Dale Stewart. Derek Connolly. Ben Slavenwhite, Eric Foran, Jeff Swain, Wade Jardine, Michael John Mitchell, Brody Sisk, Scott McKay, Kirby Preston, Brian Kerr, Scott Stewart. Absent were Robbie Malpe, and players added were Frank Wilson and Denny Gaudette, who was a great player, Chris McKay, Aaron Tozer. So those guys, some of those guys are my age, and let's just mention one of them, Wade Jardine. Wade Jardine will always have I'll always have a good memory of Wade. He came over. He used to play baseball. One year he came over and played fast pitch softball. I was the youngest guy in the team. He treated me so good. I felt like I always had a protective guy. He was the catcher. I was doing some pitching. But Wade's son Max right now is playing Major Junior. He's a local athlete that just got picked up to go do some Major Junior here in the Quebec League. And as I've been on the river, I've heard Max Jardine's name mentioned several times, not only with his good athleticism, but how much of a good young man he is. Did they win the whole Maritimes? Did they win it? Or is that just from the New Brunswick Championship?
Very good here, holding us up there.
That's okay.
There's a few different
Oh yeah, they can see.
action people. Keith Henderson there. Pitching the stick for a young lad.
Did they win the whole Maritime or just the New Brunswick?
Oh, no.
Let me see here. So yeah, that was...
No, New Brunswick.
Okay, yeah. They won New Brunswick. They did not win the Maritimes. But it's really cool, and there's a big senior hockey game actually tonight as we speak. Today's March 1st.
Yeah.
And apparently the whole rink up there sells out, and it's a good time. So there you have it, folks. Raj still got... we got lots more. We got lots of time here.
One more.
We got lots of time. We're at 25 minutes.
Yeah. Oh my God! This is just all about the nurses.
Okay.
Retired nurses.
This is from an issue of the Miramichi Weekend on what day was this? May 14th, 99. And women gathered for luncheon have 1,800 years experience. And they are retired nurses reunite. So it's a bunch of retired nurses. My mother is a retired nurse, and she gets together with former nurses to this day, once every month or whatever, and they go and have lunch together. And I'm gonna read these names out because I would say Roger's daughter Amanda's a nurse. My sister's a nurse. All you have to do is get sick and be in a hospital to not only recognize or maybe to make you remember how important that position is. It is an unbelievable important position in the world, and we should honor them at all times. Kay McKenna, Mary Watling, and Anne-Marie McDonald. Musicians Jim Matchett and Paul Gaudette, they played for them. Willa Kress and Joan Menzies. Irene Clouston and Lois Grady. Isabel Delano, Nora Daly and Anna Sullivan, Annie Simpson and Jerry Hawks, Villa Matchett, Margaret Reed and Monica Vickers, Chris McBain and Lynn Lessels, Letha Maureen, Marilyn Duffy and Ethel Lockerbie, who I think is a Logieviller,
Yep.
Joan Gallant, Lois Sutherland, and Bertha Shattuck. What a great way, what a great thing to honor. Nurses, very important.
Okay, we're gonna finish up with,
Okay. So we mentioned him in a previous installment. This is another baseball player, Riel Cormier, a left-handed pitcher, primarily middle relief, out of, I think he was okay, so was he Cap Palais? I can't remember his team, or his place. I think he was from Cap Palais or near Shediac.
yeah, something.
Close to Moncton. Sorry, Riel. He's a real gent. He was a handsome guy, and he also a focus, but he was a long-time major leaguer. He played for the Red Sox. I'm just skimming through this article, but this is when he came back to the majors after being down in the minors. He played for the Expos, I remember. And he was an effective Philadelphia Phillies, very effective reliever, and he's friends with Jason Dixon, who we just mentioned in this article. So yeah, right on, Riel Cormier.
Oh, we
Wonder if I think he was a good hockey player too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We gotta take a break from our sponsor.
Okay. Oh, our sponsors. Yeah, we're gonna take a little break here, get some tea, and I think we could probably get another 15 minutes of material, and we'll just do another 15 minutes, and then we might have to do a part 2 or a part 3 on 1999. It's tea time, and we gotta let the dog out. I think she's up there needing to go have a piss.